You're 16. It's a Saturday morning. You're dragging a busted water heater across your neighbor's lawn in a radio flyer wagon. Your hands are dirty. Your back already hurts. And the only thing on your mind is whether the yard down the road is going to give you enough cash for lunch. Now fast forward 25 years. Same person. Same industry. But now you're sitting across a table from a banker, and there's a wire transfer about to hit your account for $42.3 million. Between those two moments, one of the most brutal, most overlooked, most misunderstood career paths in America. A $43.3 billion industry. And officially, one of the 4 deadliest jobs you can have. 41.4 deaths per 100,000 workers. This is every level of a scrapyard worker's career. What it actually looks like. What it actually costs. And what it actually takes to climb all the way to the top. Let's go.
Level 1, the garage Scrapyard 16. Dad's Ford F-150 is in the driveway. In the bed, a busted water heater, 2 washing machine carcasses, and a contractor bag stuffed with soda cans you stomped flat in the garage. You weigh the water heater on the bathroom scale. 80 pounds of cold steel and foam. You strip the insulation off a coil of Romex wire with a utility knife. Underneath, copper. The color of a brand new penny. And in your back pocket, a hand magnet. That's your whole toolkit right there. Steel sticks. Copper and aluminum don't. That's the entire science of scrap in one sentence. You pull onto the drive-on scale at the yard. The yardman doesn't say a word, just gestures at the bin. You tip the bag. Cans rattle against metal. He reweighs the truck. Hands you a paper ticket. The cashier counts out $8 in singles through the sliding window. $8. Aluminum cans running 60 cents a pound that week. Here's what nobody tells you about this level. This is where the education starts. You sort a copper pile wrong one time. The buyer downgrades it from number 1 to number 2. You lose money on the load. You never make that mistake again. Ever. The lesson costs you maybe $12. You remember it for 25 years. There's a guy named Nathan Zach who started exactly like this. Same hand magnet. Same wagon. Same $8 through a cashier window. His name is now on a national recycling company. The ladder was always there. He just kept climbing. You stop double-checking the magnet. The sorting becomes muscle memory. You walk out of the cashier window with cash nobody knew you earned. That feeling. Remember it. It's going to carry you through some very hard shifts later. You're 18. Steel-toed boots from Walmart. $16 an hour. And for the first time, this is an actual job, not a side hustle. A tow truck drops a wrecked Toyota Camry on the intake pad. The foreman points at the drip level 2, the you pull it yard laborer. Pans. That's your cue. You drain the gas into a sealed jerry can. Cut the seat belts with a sawzall. Pull the airbags. Pop the battery. And punch the catalytic converter off with an air chisel. The cat goes straight into a locked steel cage by the office. Not loose. Not in a bin. Locked. Because the catalytic converter, depending on what's inside it, is worth anywhere from $50 to $1,500. The whole car might pay $250 to $500. The car is the wrapper. The cat is the candy. The depopulated Camry goes on wheel stands in row 47. You walk a customer out there in the rain because his daughter's Camry needs an alternator. He pays $55 at the counter. The shop down the street wanted $300. He thanks you like you just saved his life. You kind of did. Then one afternoon, you watch a Camry slip off a jack stand. Nobody got hurt that day. But you never forget the sound. And you never forget the review someone posted on Indeed about this job, 4 words. Safety over production, no exceptions. You believe it from that moment on. By the end of the week you've depopulated 9 cars clean. The row is yours. The foreman learns your name. That's how you know you're doing it right, not a pat on the back, just the next assignment getting bigger. Level 3, the industrial torch cutter. You're 23. $23.64 an hour. And you are now working in one of the most physically demanding environments a human being can work in. Before you even pick up the torch, the leathers alone weigh 10 pounds. FR chaps. Welding hood. Propane bottle on a cart. The thing in front of you is a rail car bogie, 5,000 pounds of cast steel, and it needs to come down under 5 feet for the mill. You chalk the cut line at 60 inches. Light the Victor torch with a striker. Preheat the bevel until the steel glows the color of a sunset. Hit the oxygen lever. And you walk the cut. Slag fountains onto your boots. The smell of burnt galvanizing gets into your sinuses and it stays there for the entire shift. One afternoon, you forget to chain off a piece of plate. The loader bumps the stack. The plate shifts and catches the back of your boot. It tears through the leather. Doesn't take the foot. You sit in the truck for lunch and your hands are still shaking when you unwrap your sandwich. There's a state safety file, New York, 2017. A 49-year-old yard worker. Killed by a front-end loader. Cause of death, severe blunt trauma. That file is taped to the break room wall. You read it once. You don't need to read it twice. Because the deadliest part of this yard isn't the torch. It's the loader operator who cannot see you behind the stack. So you learn one rule above all others: make eye contact with the cab. Every single time. No exceptions. No assumptions. Eye contact. You bring that 5,000-pound bogey down to mill size in one shift. The foreman walks past you to the next pile without saying a word. In this yard, that's the only compliment that counts. You stop flinching at the strike of the torch. Level 4, the equipment operator and grader. You're 28. And for the first time in your career, you're sitting down on the job. In a cab. An orange Senobogan material handler with an orange peel grapple. And the view from up here is completely different. A Camry rolls onto the inbound scale. 2,650 pounds tare weight. You swing the grapple, lift it onto the pre-shred conveyor, and the 9,000 horsepower mega shredder takes that entire car down to fist-sized fragments in 90 seconds flat. You feel the whine in your teeth before you hear it in your ears. The magnetic drum pulls out the ferrous. The eddy current separator kicks the non-ferrous off the belt. What comes out is called Zorba, and per ISRI specs it needs to be at least 65% aluminum by weight before it ships. You know this because if it doesn't meet spec, it doesn't move. And if it doesn't move, the whole line backs up. Then an airbag pops in the shredder chamber, one the depop crew missed. It sounds exactly like a rifle shot. Everyone on the floor looks up. You've already identified the source and gone back to work before most people have processed what they heard. An XRF gun lives on your hip now. A roll-off shows up with mixed copper. You walk over, grade the entire load in 18 minutes, and tell the driver exactly what he's getting paid. Coppa's running $3.40 a pound for the Bear Bright. You know what that means for the spread before the scale ticket prints. The lead operator at Rose Metal once told the owner during a vendor demo, "Mr. Bailey, please don't give that green machine back." You understand that sentiment completely. The first shift in a cab that doesn't fight you, that doesn't rattle, doesn't pull, just responds, changes something in how you think about this work. The frag rides a rail car to a new core mill. The Zorba gets bunkered for export. What China's buying that month determines the price you get tomorrow morning. You feel the global market in your paycheck before you read about it in the news. You stop saving the scale tickets. Level 5, the yard manager and commercial buyer. You're 38. And there's a whiteboard in your office. That whiteboard has 3 numbers on it: copper, brass, and HMS. And when you change one of those numbers, every scrapper, every contractor, every demolition crew in your town changes their number too. You are the market now. The job pays $42,000 to $120,000 a year depending on the book of business that follows you. And the day starts at 6:15 a.m. with a mill call. New core on Monday. Gerdau on Tuesday. Whatever price comes off that call is what goes on the board. No guessing. No gut feeling. The mill sets it. You execute it. A demolition contractor calls. He wants to dump a mall's worth of structural steel. You quote a price per gross ton, dispatch a roll-off, the load weighs in at 42,000 pounds. The grader kicks back 4% as contamination. You cut the check inside 24 hours. He's back with another load on Thursday. That's how you build a book. Then 2017 hits. China's Operation National Sword. Overnight, the Zorba export market collapses. And then 2018, Section 232 tariffs reshape mill demand for scrap in the same calendar year. 2 gut punches, back to back. Copper drops 30% in a single week. You take the board down. You sit with the number. You put a new number up. And the trucks keep coming through the gate. Because you've built the kind of relationships where people don't leave just because the price dips. They stay because they trust you. You stop saving the pay stubs. Level 6, the yard owner. You're 58. The banker is on speaker. And you're not nervous. You've been in rooms like this before, just never on this side of the table. 5 facilities. 2.9 acres at the flagship. 4 Senobogan material handlers. A torch crew you've kept together for 12 years. A shredder that's processed more tonnage than you can calculate. You are a feeder yard that a major steel mill cannot afford to lose. That's not a boast. That's a negotiating position. The banker canvasses the majors. You sign the NDA. The data room opens, yard maps, mill contracts, Phase 2 environmental reports going back 15 years. Everything is on the table. Because the kind of buyer you're dealing with does their homework. Here's what the acquisitions in this industry actually look like. Schnitzer Steel bought Houston-based Proler International in 1996 for $35 million. Hugo new counterbid. The deal closed at $42.3 million, a 21% jump just from the holdout. Nucor bought the David J. Joseph Company in 2008 for $1.4 billion, 35 yards, 12 shredders, 1,700 employees, a company founded in 1885. Toyota Tsusho bought Radius Recycling in 2025 for $907 million. Sims Metal bought Baltimore Scrap Corp in 2023 for $177 million. Bob Kellman at Sims called a smaller deal a strategic addition to our network of feeder yards. That's the phrase you've been waiting to read about your yard. Strategic. Necessary. Not optional. You hold out for the counterbid. And it comes. The wire clears on a Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. $42.3 million. You walk the catwalk above the shredder line one last time. The rumble comes through your boots before your ears. Same as it always did. The new owner asks you to stay on for a year as a consultant. You say no. Not out of bitterness. You just know it's time. The close. On a Tuesday morning, you drive past the gate. And there's a kid on the inbound scale with a busted water heater in the bed of an F-150. He's 16, give or take. The yardman gestures at the bin without speaking. The cans rattle. The cashier counts out $8 through the sliding window. The hand magnet from your father's pickup sits on your desk now, in a glass case, next to the first scale ticket you ever cashed. Here's what this career taught me about money, about industry, about life. The teenager with a radio flyer and the seller of a $42.3 million yard are doing the exact same job. Identify what is steel and what is not. Time the market. Everything else is just the tools changing around that one discipline. Copper is $3.40 a pound in Newark and in Modesto. Aluminum cans are 60 cents a pound from Maine to San Diego. The spread between the buy and the sell pays the rent on every yard between those two coasts. 171,470 people clock in every day to make a $43.3 billion industry run. Average salary, $90,100. You missed a Christmas or two in the middle of the climb. You'd do it again on the same terms. The ladder is still there. That kid on the inbound scale, he's on the first rung. The view from the top. It's named after you. CTA, natural, earned. If you want more breakdowns like this, real careers, real numbers, real paths from the bottom to the top, subscribe. And drop a comment. I want to know which level surprised you the most. Because for most people, it's not the one they expect.